Right, so off we go. So I just wanted to begin with so can you just give me a general overview of how you begin to go and promote your brand?
Where do you start? So the first point before you talk about any sort of promotion around the brand is your shops and your website are the primary promotion of your brand. So your basic competence as a retailer is your biggest window in the world. So how your shops look, where they are, how your web looks is your primary brand tool, because that gets the most traffic. So any one shop will have I don't know, 600-700 people coming through it, and your website has at any one time 300 to 600 people on that as well. So that's your first point, and often ignored by a lot of brands, because in this digital world there's a lot of nonsense written about shops not being important. So with Jig2aw, our shops are quirky and slightly different. We put coffee into them, we sell books and beauty products, so they're very much about our brand, and we've just actually re-platformed our website to make it more visual and more photographic. There then is a number of different avenues. So from an e-commerce point of view, the most simple one, which is the most successful, is we email every couple of days. We email with a story. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? And that's constant. And typically speaking, on an email, we might get 15% of our customers clicking through onto it, and then probably of those 15%, 20% buying. Then there is social media. So we are on the 4 big platforms. We're on Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Probably most successfully Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is probably the fastest growing, Facebook is the most established, and there'll be a constant dialogue on those platforms. Then we would have what I would call more conventional marketing, which I don't know what you study, but typically speaking, you call it above the line and below the line.
Yeah,
so above the line is the visible stuff. We do 2 big campaigns a year. We've got one out at the moment, which is all about the fact that Jig2aw clothes last for life, and we've pictured all our models with a product from now and a product from any time in the last 40 years. And we're currently in Oxford Circus Tube Station, so if you go into Oxford Circus Tube Station, we've taken over the whole of the tube station for 2 weeks. That campaign will last for 4 or 5 weeks and will be across social media, across the website, across everywhere. And then we create what I would call more below the line assets, where our photographic team goes off around the world and just shoots our product in interesting places. So they've just come back from New York and they've photographed a story about quite a sort of documentary type story about a French girl in New York wearing Jig2aw clothes, and we'll see that everywhere. We're also in third parties, so in terms of promoting our brand, we're big in John Lewis, which is a very well marketed brand, and we're in label.co.uk, which is part of Next, or we're in Phoenix, so we feed off their marketing, and Jig2aw I think is in 2 John Lewis adverts at the moment. And just an example, last year we were in the Waitrose advert. The clothes in the Waitrose advert, even though they were promoting food, were all Jig2aw. So when you're a brand, you get promotion from all sorts of places. So we have a marketing calendar, and if you look at every single week in the year, there will be 15 or so marketing strands. And as we come into Christmas, there'll be another load. So probably, it's hundreds of things at any one point.
Okay, so who would you describe as your target audience then?
That's always the hard one with the modern consumer. I mean, our target audience is women. We do sell menswear, but obviously they're women. They're ABC1, which means they're wealthy. They are well educated. Age-wise, it's very broad these days. The sweet spot is 35 to probably late 40s. But women are a lot more seamless now. When I was probably your age, your mother dressed completely differently. Well, in my case, your father would dress differently to you, and if you were a girl, your mother would dress differently to you. Now, the similarity between the generations in terms of what they wear is very clear. So we're much more ageless. We'll dress anyone from 20 to 70. So increasingly, you can't define her by age.
Okay, brilliant. So in terms of seasons, what different types of marketing will you use?
We probably wouldn't. I mean, again, fashion's much more seasonless than it used to be. We launch product every single week. So
Yeah.
in the old days, you'd launch 2 big collections. Typically speaking, we probably launch 6 different collections at any one time. In terms of the seasons, it's we'll reflect it in our photography, of course, and our collections will reflect the weather, but we don't particularly have a different strand of marketing season to season. Obviously, Christmas happens in winter, so around November we start talking about Christmas. So it's much more seasonally driven in terms of events and things going on than it is about autumn, winter, spring, summer.
Okay, brilliant. Company objectives, what would you say they are working towards?
In terms of the business objectives,
in terms of the business,
rather than marketing. Well, we are. We were on a sort of we were on like a turnaround strategy. So the strategy here was a brand renaissance project, and we've probably got past that stage. But the objectives at that time were about making the brand more exciting, about changing our product, and about operational efficiency, how we get product to market, how we what our costs are like, how our IT platforms work, and that was a sort of broad strategy. The business objectives are to grow in the UK, and to grow in the UK through growth of stores and growth of concessions, and to grow areas of our business that are less defined, like accessories, children's wear, menswear. We're also moving into Europe, and we're just launching in Holland and France, and we're moving into other international places. So we just opened in Singapore, we're trading in South Africa, we're trading in the Middle East. So we're looking to grow double digit as a business, 10 to 15%, and looking to grow aggressively for the next 2 or 3 years.
So as you're developing your corporate image, would you tend to get involved with social corporate responsibilities?
Yeah. I mean, CSR is at the heart of everything we do. So the best thing for a business to do is not to have a separate CSR department. It's just to make it the cornerstone of everything they do. So we source responsibly. We're signed up to an organisation called SEDEX. We operate a very rigorous process around all the factories we use. Luckily, being Jig2aw, we source expensive products, so we're not dealing with some of those factories where you could have issues. We're dealing very much with factories with high reputation and who pay good wages and give good conditions to their workers. And as ever, we try not to preach to our customers, but our biggest CSR boast, I suppose, is we create product that will last you for life. So we're not about fast fashion, we're about high quality product that's an investment, and as ever, we try and do the right thing.
Okay, so how would you, and going back to promotion now, how would you compare yourselves to similar competitors?
In terms of how we market ourselves?
Yes.
We try and market the, if you look at Jig2aw marketing, we try and say something about the brand rather than just putting pretty models in photographs. So typically fashion marketing is a nice photograph, a model, male or female, in the clothes, no real statement. We try and make it clear that Jig2aw is a different business. We're an independently owned business, we're family owned, we make everything by hand, we pattern cut in the building, we own a lot of our sourcing. We've got our own sourcing office in China, we have a special relationship in Romania, so we're an artisan driven company and we create product that will last you for life. So we try and talk about the brand values and why we're different from everyone else. Other businesses just tend to say, look at us, we're fashionable and isn't this a lovely photograph, if I'm very simplistic. We also don't use celebrity.
Yeah.
We don't talk about celebrity, we don't put celebrities in our photographs. Occasionally they might pop up in social media because they're wearing our clothes, but we don't typically call celebrity.
Okay, so what do you make of companies like Zara where they just decide not to promote their brand, as in they don't market it or do any advertising?
Would you say they don't promote their own? The thing about Zara is, I would say they do promote their brand. They just do it in a different way. First of all, going back to my initial point, Zara's got, I think, probably after H&M, I don't know which one's bigger, but they've probably got more shops than anyone else in the world. So
yeah.
Zara's in your face wherever you go.
Yeah.
They've got some of the best shop windows you'll ever see, Zara. So they stand out. If you're on social media, you will be talking to Zara. If you're signed up to Zara, they'll talk to you every single day. They just don't market in a conventional, old school way in terms of fashion photographs, but they have done. But Zara is a big marketing machine. It just talks very much directly to you and very much through their shops.
So do you agree with the fact that they do not advertise, or?
I think, well, they advertise less than others.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, in the modern world, advertising is not a one-page ad in Vogue. It's about social media, it's about your website, it's about your shops, and for me, Zara do that better than most. So they put all their energy into that. I mean, I'm not signed up to their social media. I'm sure if you signed up, Facebook, Pinterest,
yeah.
Instagram, you'll be bombarded by them.
Okay, brilliant. Could I get a vague idea of your marketing budget?
It all depends what you call marketing. That's
or promotional budget.
That's your problem. We probably spend about $1.5 million.
Yeah.
But that will include photography that will go into shops. That will include our magazine. We do a magazine twice a year. There's a copy downstairs if you want to take one as an example of what we do, and that would include photography on the web, etc., etc. So probably about $1.5 million.
Okay.
Which is about 2% of our turnover.
So Jig2aw as a whole is more about the personal experience. So it's all about sales and personal relations with the customer, making it a bit more unique, a bit more improving the sales quality. So let's look at Zara again, for instance. It's just sort of mass units, whereas it's sort of creating loyal customers with Jig2aw.
Well, Zara has loyal customers, so we shouldn't knock Zara's, but Zara is a volume model. So Zara is